Last week's programme can be heard this evening between 7 and 8 p.m, and there'll be a repeat broadcast of today's chats between 7 and 8 next Sunday. That music was Davy Spillane, Watching the Clock, and he is described as a world-renowned Uilleann pipe maker. Pipe player, he probably makes them too in his spare time. Before the music, I was speaking to Anne Stewart Fotheringham. I said I was hoping to speak to someone from Pitlochry Festival Theatre. Unfortunately, she hasn't shown. People may know there's a television crew wandering about this area, being a pain in the backside much of the time, but they're all quite sweet. And they were here this morning, and I grabbed one of them, poor man. And this is Alan Pee-wee Young. He is the sound man, the one with the scruffy beard, whom you may have noticed lurking in the streets with a great long boom. He's been a shoemaker, a shepherd, a drama student, all sorts of other strange things. Alan, it's very sweet of you to turn up at such very short notice.
You're very welcome.
Have you ever done this sort of thing before? Have you ever been the victim rather than the inflictor of pain?
Never.
We have you now. Just you wait. Okay, you've been all these extraordinary things. Where'd you come from originally?
From Govan in Glasgow. I was born in Govan in 1953. Right on the banks of the River Clyde.
And you went to school there?
Went to Copland Road Primary, and then after that I went to Govan High Senior Secondary.
And when did you get into all these bizarre things? Had you a trade in your head before you started off?
No. At Govan High, I was quite a sort of late developer as far as my education was concerned. And one day this firm approached them, because I was interested at that time in technical drawing. This firm approached the headmaster and said, "Do you have a suitable candidate to come along and work for as an office boy?" So that was my first job.
Where was that?
That was a company called SF Air Treatment, which is short for the Swedish company from Gothenburg. I think it is. And it's short for Svenska Flankfabriken.
That's awfully nice to know.
Yeah, you see.
Okay, so how long did you do that for?
I served my time at that. That was 5 years.
So you're a qualified technical drawer?
Technical drawer, it was drawing ducts, in other words. It was,
Quacky ducks?
No. It was marine air conditioning.
Oh, I see. Ducts with a T, right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
And we were the sort of main competitors to a company called Thermotank in those days.
Thermotank, yes.
Hall Thermotank,
yes.
Which is the famous ones that were way back for all the liners, the QE2, the Queen Mary, all the rest of them. But we were the sort of, I wouldn't say the main competitors, but we're up there amongst the best.
And that clearly wasn't satisfying, because you didn't stick at it.
No, the reason that I didn't stick at it was because of, should I say, the bigotry. In the drawing office was a blue shop, and the workers who worked in the shipyards, the dock directors and the maintenance fitters and all that, were the green shop, if you can understand.
Yes, of course I can.
Yes.
That's extraordinary. It still exists, does it?
Well, that was the sort of mid to late 60s.
And it was raw and real and needle in it. It wasn't just a sort of semi-joke as it
No,
appears,
not at all. No. If you were green, you were very unlikely to be on the drawing room floor.
And you were green?
No.
You were blue?
No, it was blue, coming from Govan High, you see.
Yes. Oh.
This is where they come and they pick out the suitable candidates for the job.
Heavens.
And fortunately, my journeyman, who was in the board behind me, he started telling me about life, reading things, going to the art galleries and what have you. And it was George Graham that more or less started me on the thinking process of, sort of why and what and how and the rest of it, you see.
Mm-hmm. That colour bar, does it still exist as far as you know in parts of Glasgow? Seriously?
Yes, it does. It does. What you tend to find now is the corporation, which I still call it the corporation rather than the district council, is predominantly green. Mm-hmm. And the other aspects of the blue side is not that it bothers me, because it doesn't. But yes, it does.
Really?
It does still exist. It stems from Belfast,
sure,
from Harland and Wolff, and that's how it all got transferred to the sort of Clyde side. Was all that sort of the stigma of sort of if you're Roman Catholic or if you're Protestant,
sure, yeah,
and you got the better jobs, and that's why there was the trouble in Ireland, and probably it still is.
Yeah, and 30,000 Orange men marched to Edinburgh a couple of days ago too. It's
No,
still
that's what you see.
Sure.
Yeah.
And once you got wise, once you started to think, You decided not to be a drawer anymore.
No, what had happened was at that time I was a mod. You see,
All right. Yes.
Right.
I'm not laughing. No.
that was a mod, and we used to. It was the blazer, the Barathea blazer with any badge on it, a nice gold badge, slacks, Arthur Black shirts, which was button-down shirts, and they're handmade, made to measure, but on the feet it was called a terry shoe. Now, terry shoes are, at that time, they came from Brazil. And they came in 3 different colours. They came in oxblood, black and tan, you see. So with being a mod, this is the suit. This is what you did. And obviously the Barathea overcoat as well. Now, I had a pair of the oxblood, a pair of the black and a pair of the tan shoes. And the tan shoes, which was my favourite, wore out. You see?
Such is life.
Such is life.
Yes.
So I went into Saxons, who were the importers of this coming from Brazil or Argentina. It was one of the places and said, "Could I have another?" I'm sorry, we don't do them anymore. Don't import them anymore. And I says, "Well, you've got to be kidding. You must be kidding." So went round all the shops in Glasgow. They're all sold out. Went to Edinburgh. They're all sold out. So I then decided, right, how is this shoe put together? So I took the shoe apart bit by bit, stitch by stitch, and had 14 different components to it, and made myself a pair of terries.
And did they look good?
They looked exactly as they were that you got them out of the shop. And instead of making them tan, I made them a sort of greeny blue.
So you were a unique mod, the top of the pile.
Exactly.
Magic.
Exactly. So as soon as I went into the pub and whatnot, and and the mate said, "Well,
They all
we
fell
have
down
it."
your
So,
feet and worshipped,
Yes.
yes?
He says, "Can you make us a pair? Can you make us a pair?" And of course, I was a size 9, and I would say, "Well, I mean, if you're a size 9, there isn't any problem." So I used to make size 9 terry shoes.
Oh, that was your trade, was it?
No. Well, from then, of course, it was a sort of equation, right? If I can make a size 9, what's the equation to make a size 10? And then make a size 8 and make a size 7. So I started getting into the theories and how the templates differ from what the 9 would be, and I started making different sizes.
Oh, absolutely magic.
So that's how the shoemaking all
And
started.
how long did it take you to make a pair of shoes like that?
I was still working in the drawing office at the time, and that was the best part of a couple of months from start to finish.
Yeah.
Investigating where you get the leather, what kind of leather you use, what kind of glue, what kind of thread, pig's whiskers for hand sewing it, dye, where would I get the dye from? So it was quite, you had a lot of investigating to find out where you get the proper materials to do it.
Right. And when you'd done that, you were still in the drawing office.
By that time, I had left the drawing office, and I met this chap in Byers Road in Glasgow, a chap called Leonard Archibald, who's from I'm not sure where he's from, Skye and whatnot, and he taught me all the rest, how to integrate machines instead of doing everything by hand.
Oh, you became a real pro shoemaker at that point.
Well, it was still a bit of I wouldn't say ad hoc, but there was sort of that anybody can make shoes that can a pair.
Oh, really? Because you got to do it backwards.
That's the
haven't you?
secret.
Yes,
You
yes,
see,
yes,
you've got to have a pair.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's it.
You really want to marry somebody who makes good left shoes, and you make good right shoes, and you've got a partnership going.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And how long did you do that for? How much? Key question. How much did you sell them for?
At that time, it was probably for about a £5.
For 2 months' work. You'd never get rich on that.
No.
No.
No, not at all.
No.
No, that was 2 months it took me to make my pair, but I mean, obviously I did them over the space
You got down to about 6
when I was
weeks.
still in the
Yeah.
drawing. Yeah, probably in a week
Yeah.
to make a size 9.
Right.
Because there was no problems with that. You see, I had the template already made, but it's when you started getting into the other sizes, that's when it started getting a bit more
Awfully tricky,
difficult.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get into half sizes and subtleties?
No,
like
no,
that?
no.
All right, all right,
That was too difficult.
I've also got down here that you became a shepherd. When did that slip into your life?
Well, it was all these things are all integrated, or sort of all involved in love affairs, really. Because in the shoemaking, I had a love affair, and when that all fell through, I moved back to Glasgow because I had a little business in Luss, in Loch Lomond side, and I
A
had
shoe business as well.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
and I had a little shop in the Gilmer Place in Edinburgh. I shared a shop called the Manacraft Leather Company, which is still there, but it's different owners now. And it went bust, so I was sort of stuck for quite a sum of money. And we've got to realise, sort of 18, 19, 20, I mean, I was a sort of liked life.
You were still this sort of age.
Oh,
You got
absolutely.
an awful lot.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, it was just sort of liked life, liked girls, and sort of that was it. You see, the money sort of, when I never invested back in the business, it just went back into sort of having fun.
Yes, yes.
So, I was stuck for work, and I ended up moving there because I had met this girl, a Cockney girl, who was staying with a friend, and she was from Essex. So I moved down to Essex. And
So you're one of the earlier exploiters of the Essex Girl.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful, yes.
Yes.
Right.
And her dad was a sort of employer at Fords and Dagenham, you see, so he very kindly got an opening there. So I worked there for 6 weeks. I'm sorry to say that's as much as I could take it.
This is
I was taking
metal clangs.
This is putting windows in the
line,
Ford, the Ford Escort, sort of Mexico model at that time, which should be, what would that be now, 71? 71? Yeah.
Something like it.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
or even later.
Not to worry.
No, not to worry, no.
But you were doing that for 6 weeks.
Yes,
During your romance with your Essex girl, this was all part of the romance, was it?
That's right.
Put in windows
Yes.
and canoodled in the evening. I
Well,
see.
that's right. I was staying in Upminster. 6 o'clock start in the morning and Barking at where Dagenham is, and it's up at 4 in the morning. Travel to Barking, then bus it and all this sort of stuff to get to Dagenham, and it's just I'm afraid I was always late.
Yeah.
Always late. I had the alarm clock and the plates and the tumblers on top of the alarm clock, and I just couldn't wake up. So I was always late, and 6 months was 6 weeks was the
And they
longest
fired
I
you,
could
did
live.
it?
Well, they did.
Oh,
and
quite understandable.
and the union stepped in and says, this chap is a wonderful worker.
He's
and
never there, but he's great.
And
he's
could
a
we
member.
please give him
Yeah.
another chance? And
Yeah.
the management agreed, right, if you can get here at 6 o'clock in the next 3 days, we'll keep you on, we'll put you on to night shift, you see. So this is the last of the 6 weeks. So the first morning, half an hour late, that was acceptable.
Okay, yeah.
The next day was half an hour late. But the last day for this trial period, 9 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and says to myself, I says, well, what on earth am I going to do? That's it's over. I says, right, I had this brainwave. I says, right, if I get in at 6 o'clock at night and clock in, I'll see what happens. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I went in at 6 o'clock at night, and of course there's a hullabaloo. What are you doing in at this time? I says, well, you did say it was 2 days on test, and then the third day, that's it, I'm on to the night shift, so that's me clocking in. So there's a big hullabaloo. The union's involved again, and they gave me another 2 days grace on this, you see. And no, I couldn't get in the next day. Couldn't get the next day. But the funny thing about it was, I had to go and pick up my wages, and they had given me, although I was there for 6 weeks, they gave me a year's holiday money. They gave me all sorts of bonuses.
Wow. Yeah.
So it ended up I returned to Glasgow with I think something like £600.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
Well, in those days, what's that?
A lot of bread, yeah.
a lot of money. There's obviously a mistake.
Yeah.
Was
But
that-
you didn't argue it.
Oh no, I was straight out the door.
So you're back in Govan.
No. This is back in Glasgow.
You're back in Glasgow
Yes.
now, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you're workless back in Glasgow with 600 quid in your pocket. What do you do there?
I was stuck.
Yes.
Stage of my life where I was stuck.
You beat your breast and looked at your navel for a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, getting out of Govan was quite a hard thing
I'll
to
bet,
do.
yes.
You know, to sort of loosen the chains and go and get out of there. It's very, very difficult to do. The father had retired by this time, and the house was always there in a tenement. And I went back there. Then I bumped into a friend and moved into another flat. You've got to understand this is a time of life, and I didn't know what I was wanting to do. So a friend phoned me up and says, I've got this job in an island called Ulva, which is in the west coast of Mull, the south coast of Mull, little island. And so I went up there and stayed there for 6 months as a student farm labourer. And that was, I would say, the best sort of relaxing and sort of contemplative 6 months of my life.
Why did you cry? Why did you quit that?
Why did I quit it?
Yeah.
Well, there was one time that I was in seeing Archie the Shepherd, and we were just sitting, and Scott Murray, who was the chap that got me the job there, and Hugh McPhail is the farm manager. There was this copy of Stage, which is a sort of theatrical paper, was sitting, an old paper, and I was sort of looking at it. And it says in it, technical students wanted at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in Glasgow, you see.
And you weren't musical, knew nothing about drama, but you're a good shoemaker. That's for me, did you?
Exactly. I says, look, I can get someone to do this and get the shoes up and run again, get a job in the wardrobe or anything like this, and maybe start thinking about something else, you see, because I was also interested in photography and all the other things that go along with sort of when you're a young dreamer, in other words, because I did a bit of photography. So, put the application away, got the reply back for an interview, and this was on the Thursday. Went down there, stayed overnight with a friend, and went for the interview on the Friday morning. Had the interview with Toby McLaughlin and Tony Whelan at that time. They were the technical sort of directors at the academy, and this would be 70. The other thing, when I was up in Ulver, it was the summer of '76. If we all remember that.
That
summer.
went on forever, didn't
Yes.
it? Yes, a marvellous summer. Yeah.
So I was like Othello.
No midges either.
Just black.
Yes.
I was just
beautiful.
Just there wasn't a bit of white skin on me.
Yeah.
So I went to the interview, had the interview, stayed the night, travelled up first thing on Saturday morning. You see, got the ferry from Oban, got the post bus up to Ulva Ferry, and there's the rowing boat was out on the Mull side. You see, so I said, that's quite strange. And I says, if the postman's over, the ferry should be on the other side. You see, so, and his bike's over there at Tulva Ferry, at the ferry house. I says, I wonder where Johnny the Post is. So I rode over, and there's no sign of anybody, you see. And he went down to the steadings, and there's still no sign of anything. I says, something wrong here. And just as I was walking towards the steadings, everybody, more or less, everybody in the island, which consists of 30 people, started running out of the houses with this letter, shouting, "You've got in! You've got in! You're into the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama." And I was like, I said, what do you mean? So the letter had preceded me, you see.
And they'd opened
And they had opened it. They had steamed it open. Yeah.
Oh, very small town, very Scots. Yeah, they're writing that lovely stuff.
And they couldn't resist it, you see.
Yeah.
They just couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
So that was that. So I went down to Glasgow to stayed the rest of the summer there until the college started, and put my father's house down as a address for getting my grant. So the funny story about that is that I had to go back to Govan. And the sad thing is that the house by this time I hadn't been paying any rent or rent like this, and the whole house is all boarded up, you see, corrugated iron and all this sort of stuff.
And your grant money's going in the letterbox.
And my grant money's on the other side. I said, what on earth am I going to do here? You see? So I always remember being a kid. There's always a way to get into your house. The secret ways. And this place was two stories up. So there was a little landing and then a little jump and up the drain pipe, and sure enough I get in, and sure enough the grant was there. So that was me all started. So after that I was just trying to find a place to stay after that. Yeah. But that all worked out, and spent a glorious year there.
And you came out as a sound man, was that?
No, I came out as not a qualified, but as an ASM for the theatre.
And assistant stage manager. Yeah.
That's right.
And did you play that one for a bit?
No, I couldn't stand it.
Why not?
I just didn't like it at all. Couldn't stand it. I went there to do. At that time, I started thinking of film and television, and they had the course on. They had a beautiful TV studio there, and I did a bit of film work. Unfortunately, when I was there was supposed to be 14 students as a year's intake. Out of the 14, after 2 months, there was only 6 of us left. So 6 of us had to do the work of 14.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all the plays and everything. Everybody had to man it and all this sort of stuff. So there wasn't very much time for the film and TV side of things. So it was basically the theatre.
We're going to have to make the link, because we're broadcasting from Pitlochry now, and you've been doing the rounds of this part of the world for the last several weeks now. But before we get into that, when did you actually start doing sound? When did you start being attached to these strange television people?
Well, this is still an ongoing sort of tale here, because a friend got me a job in the Third Eye Centre in Glasgow. This is an art centre that had just opened. Yeah. And I spent 9 wonderful years there as a technical officer. And when I first started there, all they had was one microphone and an amplifier.
What's the Third Eye Centre? What does it do?
It was an art centre. It's now called the centre.
What's an art centre mean? Does that mean that you make programmes or you make something?
No, this is an art centre that's a visual arts. It's
right.
Art performing art, theatre, films, poetry, anything really.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. At that time, it still is the biggest art centre in Scotland. You see.
Mm-hmm.
So during my work there, that was nine wonderful years. I built a theatre, recording studio, cinema, all this sort of stuff. And during this time, there's this wonderful chap who used to come in, and the readers or the listeners will probably recognise the name, Oscar Mazzaroli.
Right, I ought to, but I don't.
You don't?
No, I'm an ignorant brute there. Yes. Well, anyway, everybody else in Highland Perch knows exactly who
Oscar Mazzaroli used to come in, and we used to. He was a beautiful photographer. Glasgow, by the way, and all. They used to do all the 50s, the little girl in the Wellingtons with the blonde hair from the Gorbals, all the Glasgow pictures, beautiful black and white pictures. Yeah. And I helped him hang his show, because that was part of my job as well, you see, hanging exhibitions and helping artists, installations, all, lighting the shows, doing sort of this sort of thing. And Oscar turned around and says, well, you're quite interested in sound, aren't you? He says, well, yes, I am. He says, do you ever think of going to Scotland equivalent to film school? And he more or less got me the break for into film school in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it started. But as far as getting interested in sound was, it would be from the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. That's where it. Underneath it all, it did start. Unfortunately, I didn't get the training there for the film and television, but it did start there.
And you're purely a sound man. Is that what you're going to be now you've perhaps grown up? Or do you want to be a director and all the rest of it as well? Or is sound what you're going to concentrate on now?
Well, sound is what I'm familiar with.
And you're happy with sound, your ambitions have stopped. You don't want to rush away and do something else.
Well, everything, my old man used to always say, everything in your life happens in 10-year patterns. You see, now, my theatre time was 10 years, including the Third Eye Centre. And my drawing office shoemaking time was 10 years. And now my sound recording time has come up to its 10 years.
So you're waiting for the awful explosion to happen?
I don't know. Possibly there might be something. I might buy myself a little camera and do some home movies or something. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. I'm very content with my life at the moment.
And what sort of work have you done that people would know about? What have you been involved with?
Well, in the old days, I used to do a lot of... the listeners will probably remember Harry Seacombe.
Mm-hmm. The Godspot?
That's right, the one before that, Highway.
Yeah.
Used to do work at Border Television quite a lot, and we used to do all the highways that went round Cumbria and all there, and what happened. That was quite good.
Yeah.
Quite good.
Because you tend to sit in the corner at the end of your long boom and just look wise.
Yes.
So you observe an awful lot. You must see
an awful lot.
Yeah.
An awful lot. But if someone, after an interview, and someone turned around and said to me, "But what was said there, it would be very difficult to repeat it."
You're simply on levels and things like that.
You're simply listening to what's been said, but also listening to what's in the background.
Mm.
It's the background that interests you more than what the person's saying.
Right.
You see.
And have you worked on series like this one that's going out about Highland Perch next season? Have you worked on things like this before?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
I did a programme called, it was his first sailing programme, which was called the Valhalla, which was a 6.5 hour sailing round western Scotland on a Swan 55 sailing boat.
That was fun?
Yes.
A jammy one.
Yes, it was very nice. It was every half-hour programme was an invited guest that come on. The first day it was Bill Patterson, and then John Byrne, Evelyn Glennie, she was on it. The boys from Absolutely, Murray Hunter and Jack Docherty, they were another one. And I'm just trying to think, the MP for Skye, what's his...
Kennedy, is he?
Kennedy, Charles Kennedy, he was another guest. So,
what's this one been like? What are the people like in Highland Perch? This is where you want... critical stuff here. What do we like? Because you've been looking at us like under a microscope as if we were beetles for the last 6 weeks or something. So what do we like?
The first thing that comes into my mind is a very content society.
Brackets,
all round.
Smug? No?
No, I don't even think smug comes into it. Everybody seems to not have any worries. There seems to be a place where nobody has any worries. Or if they do have worries, they hide them very
Well, you
very
would, wouldn't you? If this guy's coming at you with a lens, you're not likely to say, boo-hoo, my mummy kicked me in the bottom last night.
No, it's not just a case of that. I mean, it's just like, you notice things when you work in this industry. You can see people at their face value and whatnot, and even although the camera's on and what it isn't on, regardless what they say, and it really sort of it gives a feeling in my eyes that it's quite a, as you would say, quite, I wouldn't say a laid back part of the world, but it's quite. I mean, it's a hard place to live.
In what way?
Well, I mean, it's the climate and the sort of the earnings. You've got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have. Everybody has to make a living, and it's. Yeah, I think everybody that lives here really are quite content.
Would you ever be tempted to live in a place like this?
Well, I lived in Luss before.
And Alva, which is even rougher. Or
Well, that was totally. I had to import my women in to Alva, so I did.
I don't think you may have to do that here if you moved in. I'm not sure.
No, it was very sort of, just the way that things were working. I just had to phone people up and say, "Can you come up for the weekend?" It's just, things were getting a bit sort of, lonely.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Mm. And I believe you're actually going to do a Heartland programme. This was sprung upon you at very short notice, like 30 seconds, but you're actually doing a personal choice, aren't you?
I've been asked to do a personal choice, yes.
And you're going to do that, are you?
Yes, I will do.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I will do.